Everybody touch your mic. Make sure it's on.
Check, check.
Exit them in.
In my lap. Okay, it is 7 o'clock. Thank you for coming to our August 16th special PC meeting. I'm going to call it to order and we will do the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call when ready. Please.
Steelman,
Here.
Keaton,
Here.
Jacobson, Robel,
Here.
DeYoung,
Here.
Falmouth.
Here. Okay, anybody want to adjust the meeting agenda? Yeah,
You can, it's a special meeting.
why is it even on here? I'll take it off my template.
You can do it only if you have
Oh,
a
I
full
didn't know
quorum
that.
and you don't, because Mike's not here.
I didn't never heard that before. Good to know. Okay, declaration of conflict of interest.
Done.
Okay, then I will open it up for public comment. Anybody in town hall? Denise? No? How about on Zoom? I see we have Tom on. But he'll get to weigh in if we want him to, right? If we
We
have
have to
a
decide if we want,
consensus
right?
when we need, okay. Thank you. So it doesn't look like there's any public comment tonight, so we'll jump right into special meeting business. Do we have anybody, has anybody reached out about additional members to join the ROS? Has anybody talked to anybody or heard of anything? I have not heard from anybody officially at all.
I
Do you guys-
mentioned it to a couple of my neighbors, but
No?
Do you guys think you need more help?
I think we were talking about putting it out there that, yeah, that would be nice,
Well, we're down one member.
right? With Rod.
If we had a couple more, it'd be nice. We're gonna need them for the meetings.
Put me on the bottom of the list if no one volunteers.
Well, what could we do to, anything we should or could do to encourage or drum up business? I don't know. No,
I don't know. Is there?
you did post it, right, on the page? After the last meeting, I think you were gonna post it on the planning commission page. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I don't know either. I haven't looked either. I don't know. No worries.
Maybe we need to take out a Wani.
Pardon me?
Maybe we should take out a Wani. Don't laugh, it works. Some people just read the Wani's. Isn't it like $2.50 in some of those little papers? I mean,
Let's do that. Let's do that to start.
You don't see it on the website.
So what do we want it to say?
We did come up with the last time.
Yeah, so what would I put in the,
Lois should have those notes because she wrote them down.
yeah, I emailed it.
Oh,
Let me, should I find that really quick and we just review it and make sure we all. What day was it we met? The second? I think I wrote that on the, yes, on the third. I wrote, Whitewater Township residents, we need your help. Please consider joining the Resident Outreach Subcommittee on a short-term commitment to help the PC with planning aspects of our township's master plan project. If you have questions or to share your interest, please contact Rachel Steelman or something like this, is what I wrote. So does that work?
Sounds good.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Lois. On the 17th, we'll do that. Okay. Next up is master plan survey results.
So can I clarify that this is a meeting of the Planning Commission and ROS? So Denise is
Yes,
welcome
she
to
can participate for
participate
sure.
in the.
I think for the survey, we were gonna maybe ask to have the survey accepted by the board, but after reviewing it more, I think there's some more issues we'd like to see. One of the big ones is as they were going through it, if you missed any of the papers around, you mixed
You're
them.
screwed.
they
They're
weren't
not
numbered.
numbered.
And we're finding that some of the questions aren't, the whole question isn't above it. And I think Denise mentioned that there was 16 questions, but there's 20 answers. 26 answers. So there's some issues with the report that I think we'll have Randy get back to, or who's the contact person for them?
I think Denise has done most of the contacting
Okay.
with them.
I think maybe if we got with Randy and you get a chance to look it all over, maybe just give him suggestions what we want to see in the report, but definitely pages numbered, more defined, questions more defined with the answers underneath them.
Yes, so the title of the report says default report and the question numbering doesn't seem to work. It doesn't align to the questions that people sent out, so there could be some confusion with that, as I understand.
That's what, in the software. line-
Denise, could you give the microphone, please?
You want to sit here, Denise? There's
No, I don't. Thank you. No, thank you. All done.
Mommy pants.
The number, in the software, the line number 1 is the default report. So, and then, so it automatically numbers question 2 as the follow-up question, which is the first question on our survey. That has to be a formatting issue. That that can be overcome. That doesn't,
I would think.
yeah. So I think it just needs to be cleaned up.
Yep.
I think
So-
someone was in a hurry and they just threw you something out. That's what I'm looking at. So, maybe I'm wrong.
Well, so the issue is posting it on the township website, so anyone could see this, and is this ready for posting or not? And
No,
it's probably not. So,
not after, I would like it to look more professional.
Have we gotten a Excel spreadsheet of it yet?
no, not that I haven't.
I'd like to get a hold of it, because you can make very nice reports with Excel spreadsheet, so.
So
can, and
play with
then
that if they can't come up with something.
quick question for that though, because it's editable or editable. Is that going to be a concern, or just can the information be?
Well, I think Networks Northwest is providing us the report as a third party. This is
Mhm.
their compilation of all the data that was done offsite. And so all we're asking for, in addition to the report, is the data so that we can do our own analysis if we want to. Like Denise mentioned about the idea of looking at the quadrants. Remember, we asked people to say what quadrant of the township they live in. If we want to know how people in the south part of the township feels versus the north, we could do that.
And with the Excel spreadsheet, we can do mapping, so we could put, what quadrant was, this question, where was the most information on.
Mhm.
And so there's a lot of stuff we can do. If I get that, I can play with that and have that for us.
So I'm jotting down things that we're gonna need to ask Networks Northwest for. One is, so the questions should align. The pages should have numbers. This, I wrote formatting issue that goes along with the questions don't align. Is that the same thing, or are we talking about two different things there?
Is that correct context, Denise?
What we're talking about is the formatting issue is the way they have their program. So the first line says default report. We want them to change that.
So default
Default
report needs to be changed. Okay.
And then the issue of the questions not totally being written out, where they would, like, half of it would be out, then you get a dot, dot, dot. You wouldn't have the rest of the whole question there.
Okay, so hold on, I'm writing all these for me, so the whole question isn't written. Okay, what else?
And then I think the issue with some of the questions being 16 questions and 24 answers, that there needs to be like question one, and then the answers need to say, question answers one.
So,
So that we can match those, whether it's one or A or whatever, it doesn't matter, but there has to be some way to be able to match that. So nobody,
It's gonna be difficult because
It may be difficult because it's a subset, like one of our questions may have had 3 different parts to it, but we only had one question number. So when he did all the survey results, he ended up with 4 questions to our one question. And that's where the additional numbering came in. It's, you know, how when you start writing a list and on the computer, you put 1, you write something, and then you go to the next slide, it automatically puts 2. And, and unless you work on it, I think that's what happened, but we have to figure out if we want to put like 1 subset 1A subset
1AB.
or something like that, just so he can, we can have something a little bit more polished.
there needs to, they need to supply us a professional report.
Yeah.
So some way to be able to see that question 1, and these are the answers to question 1. And then the other one would be
Numbering the pages,
numbering the pages.
okay,
because when you get the comments out of order, you can get the wrong interpretation. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I just have to talk. Yeah, I have to,
I can hear him fine.
yeah,
He's the same
I-
distance. I can't hear you.
I'm allowed.
yeah, but I do talk quiet, so
so correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Networks Northwest say that they would give us some breakouts, right? If we wanted it by quadrant or different things. So we could have them, ask them for that plus an Excel version. So some of the work was already done for you since we paid them. So what are those
Yeah.
versions that we want from?
So I would suggest that be a separate report, that if we do want some of that, so, because this is already close to 100 pages, I think. I mean, we'd be at.
So
400.
you'd have this report corrected this way.
Yeah,
And
and
then
then-
separately asking for X, Y, and Z.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that makes sense.
yeah, so,
So we know we want broken out, the answers in whole, broken out by quadrant.
yes, which would be 4 separate reports.
Yep.
I think anyway, so you're not
I agree.
plowing through something 2 inches thick.
Otherwise, in order to make comparisons, you gotta go through every one of these. And then have a cheat sheet over here. Cause I started keeping track today on a separate piece of paper, and I was like, ooh, how you tailing this one?
What other reports do we want to ask? Or did we talk about, or did I read about seasonal versus full-time? Separating that information out?
We did talk about that in the meeting, so yeah.
So that'd be 2 more reports.
Well, you have 3 categories. You have seasonal. and You have renters. You have seasonal, half people, and you have renters, own property. You ask 3 things. Full-time resident, season resident, property owner, not a resident.
So 3 reports.
Then you
for
ask
that.
another one about renters.
Mhm. So that's how we ended up with more questions on the report, because he might have divided up by that. You might want to go by demographics, because maybe everybody over 65 are the ones that really like to walk, and everybody else doesn't have any time to walk. They might like it, but am I doing better? They might like it, but they don't have the time.
Right.
Something like that. I think the age brackets might make a difference.
So all of the age brackets that are listed.
I don't know if we want Networks Northwest to do that, or if once we get the raw data, that's something that we could do, because it might take them a lot longer. We're not their only client. And I'm looking at Keith because he said he could manipulate
Oh, I can.
the data.
So
Do anything we want it to do.
you can just do a sort function, right?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
and
But
It'd be
I,
best to do it, by question, so you could sort of however you want it, once you have your questions in the right areas.
yeah. So the main thing would be to align the questions from the master plan survey.
And I
Okay.
think the important thing is to get one good copy from Networks North as their final
Yeah.
report.
Mhm.
Right,
So
that we can post.
So then if we manipulate the data anyway, it can always be checked against the
Right.
the
That's
main,
true.
so nobody could ever say that, well,
Yeah.
you changed it the way you want it to read.
Mhm.
Right.
So maybe the quickest, because we do have time issue here, is just to ask them for these corrections on their final report plus an Excel version separately and be done with it.
Mhm.
That would be the quickest
And
way.
I think if we could get
Okay.
the Excel version right away, then at least we could come up with our
Secondaries.
tables that we're going to end up having for the meeting.
So do you want me to, or Randy, do you want to email?
Before you guys get to that point, Tom's gotta go. He can only be on for a couple minutes. Do you want to ask him if he has any opinion or anything? Because he is part of your committee,
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sure.
but he only has a couple minutes, so
Tom, if you can hear us, can you speak up?
Tom?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, we can hear you, Tom. Do you have any thing you want to add?
It would seem to me that the primary issue is that we need a clean professional report. And it sounds like between Keith and Randy, if we had the Excel version, we could look and break it down perhaps more efficiently. I'm thinking if we get 4 versions based, just for example, on the geographic quadrants, it's going to be an overwhelming amount of data that it might actually be easier just to look at the divisions that we want on a spreadsheet.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
You have a consensus, Tom?
All right. Thanks.
Anything
So-
else you'd like to add?
Have a good meeting.
Thanks.
Yeah, I got to run. Thank you, though.
Bye,
Thank
Tom.
you. Bye.
So one report with the list of the changes, we'll get that posted on the website. Anyone can access it then. Anyone who has any questions about what the results were. It's,
Am I going to ask Randy to do that, Tom?
If you don't mind.
no, I will, I just get your notes though.
Yeah,
since I-
I'll send
you
it.
just-
I'll send you an email or
And express to them
Because
we're
this
looking
is
for
a
a
mess.
professional final report.
I'm going to put that in the form of an email because I've not had luck with return phone calls in the past. So,
Okay. And as soon as we can get the Excel sheet.
yep. Oh. The millennial, right? Yeah, I know.
anything else on the survey that we need to cover? I'm looking to everybody else.
I think before our next meeting, uh, we've been working on kind of what we might think is questions. Maybe we can have that ready for us to decide on for our next meeting of what the 4 to 6 tables will look like.
Okay, so now, so we'll move to the community
I can-
engagement workshop
Yeah.
and you want to have that data to look at differently before you finalize those
Yes. I think
6
we
or
need
so
to-
workstations?
Right. So as we talked at the ROS meeting last week, Barry and I are meeting tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock to look at the possible division of tables based upon what you talked about at the meeting and based upon what we hear today. So that would then come back to the ROS at their next meeting to digest and think about, and then a little more detail. I thought Tom did a nice job kind of getting a first shot at breaking those out. I don't think Barry saw that. I'm not sure if he did or
I'd be
not.
curious what he thought of it.
So we'll digest
He'll
that
talk to you
tomorrow
about
and then come back to the ROS and Planning Commission with a proposed.
We have an ROS meetings set for 8/24 at 9 AM.
Okay, so then September 6th, we have our meeting, so we would be ready to make decisions on that
Sixth.
community engagement at September 6th. Okay,
Is that okay?
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
that's great. Like,
That's moving right along. Two
That's
weeks, 2
perfect.
weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Good job.
So we have to think about what's at each one of these stations in terms of graphics and material that helps people understand. I included some pictures in there just so you kind of get a feel for how this gets set up, where there are stations, there are people at the stations from both Leah, myself, Planning Commission, ROS, to help talk to people as they come in. And so it's important how we frame the questions and try to get the feedback from the residents. I think we want a really positive experience for people. We want to welcome them when they first come in and get them to give us their name and information, and
I
then,
got sheets for that on boards already from the committee we did last time at the school.
and I passed along an email that came from Barry yesterday that talked about some of the, I mean, things are going at a pretty fast pace. We just signed the contract with Leah last week, and Barry was able to come to the meeting on Thursday, was it, last week? And we put him on the spot and started talking about
You did really well.
yeah,
Yeah.
I thought so. And so he seems to be willing to keep up with us as far as moving this along, but he did send this along. And this came yesterday, so there wasn't really time to put it in the packet, but some things for us to think about include the venue, the date, time, accessibility, the lighting, all these details, the volunteers, the items available for use, whether we have tables or microphones, PAs, all those kind of details need to be identified before the event. Plus, not to mention the advertisement that we need to undertake to get people out to this workshop.
And our thought is that we'll have that all ready for you guys for the 6th meeting.
love it, love it.
I'll try to get just
So-
this piece here from Barry. Do you want that in the Word packet? Or not yet?
I just wanted to go over the goals here that we had for the meeting, for the public outreach. These were, suggestions that we're going to bring to PC here. First, with the most important, I think, was the date, September 28th, 2023. The time would be somewhere between 2 to 7, depending on the availability of the school.
I think Denise can speak to
Yeah.
that,
Well,
the time issue.
Yeah. State,
The principal didn't want anyone in the school prior to 4. Parents could go in before 4. So the parents that pick up their students that are Whitewater Township residents, they could go in, and that would be great because we'd capture some of the parents.
Yeah.
That's what I was hoping for. The other part that, there's always something that may go wrong. I mean, tomorrow when you talk with Mr. Hicks, I'm going to call Mr. Hicks because I do. If he can't make the September 28th meeting, our backup date was October 5th. I haven't asked the school for that yet, but we'll know as soon as, if he can't make the September 28th, then do you want to call me right away and I can see if October 5th, our backup date will
Sure.
work? And So I think we initially said, like you said, 2 to 7.
Really quick is,
Yeah,
oh, that the 5th is a Thursday, right? I was thinking our PC meeting is, it'll be
These are both on
Wednesday, the
Thursdays.
4th. Okay. put that-
Yeah, and then I did check the township website. The evening of September 28th is a ZBA meeting date. So if our workshop session ends at 7, they could go anytime between 4 and 7. So I don't think that would be a conflict. Would it? I don't. It wouldn't be a
So,
conflict for the,
It
yeah.
said on this other thing that you need time to set up, like an hour for setup. So would they allow Leah and you, I mean, I'm a parent of a Mill Creek, so I can get in at
Mhm.
3, but would you all be able to get in to help set up from 3 to 4?
That's a good question. There's, well, I didn't go through all this because the woman that I was talking to is out until next Tuesday. The cafeteria and the gym are both open on that date. So I don't know. I'm wondering if someone wants to go down there and look at the cafeteria and the gym and decide which one would be preferable.
Well, they're kind of attached to each other. Aren't
They're
they right
next,
to
they're
each
next
other?
to each other, but
Plus there's
there's
an open
tables
wall.
in the,
Right, and there's
In the
also
caf-
an open wall.
I
Yeah,
would say the cafeteria.
the
How big
cafeteria.
is the cafeteria compared to this room?
It's probably, it's bigger than this room, but not by a ton.
Oh, it's that small?
I
Yeah, you
mean,
know,
I
we
don't
ate
know, maybe
pizza in
double
it.
this. I'm not
Denise,
very
we
good with
ate
size.
pizza in it. We had our.
Oh, that's
pizza in
that was
it.
the
That's
cafeteria. Oh, that's quite large.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, then probably cafeteria.
And I think it's the first door when you on the right when you go in.
Yeah.
So we don't have to,
Right.
you know.
don't
Whenever
have to
the
walk
school
through
has
the
events, they put a
hallway.
table right as you enter the doors. And that's, I think, where you would greet people and direct them just that
Mhm.
direction to the.
Yeah. And she did, I asked her if it'd be okay if we stood out in the parking lot where the cars were lined up and talk to people if they wanted to go in. It's a hawker. Carol, you want to be a hawker at the Mill Creek Elementary School for the workshop? No?
That's a no, Denise.
That's a no. Yeah. Do you know what a hawker
Yeah.
is?
He's got a ZBA meeting that night. too,
Oh,
right?
that's right. You cannot. Yeah.
We got a little time.
Okay.
For that.
All right.
Okay.
We might have
um,
other stuff.
All right, you
So
decide.
the time is flexible. That's just the time that we had talked about being the best between those 2 times, the 2 and 7. Stations for public input, 4 to 6. We kind of agreed, I'd like to see 6 stations, but we'll see how that turns out. Staffing wise, there's only going to be 2 staff from Leah there. So we would have to staff probably most of those stations. And the thought is that ROS committee will, I think one of them couldn't be here, but I think the rest of us were. Was it Tom and you were going to be here for it?
Man, no, you can be here anytime. I'm retired.
Oh, right. But Denise,
I will be out of the area from.
I'm good. You can use me for a while.
okay, well, if we can't use the ROS, we'll need some of you guys, so.
I personally, I would like to do greeting a little bit if I could, just
Yeah.
as the chair. I think it would be nice to
Definitely.
greet people and welcome them.
I
And
think the first impressions are important.
The more the merrier, yeah. I would hate to see a table not be staffed. So somebody come to
I'll
answer
make your table
questions,
pretty.
somebody come to answer questions about something that's important to them, and there's not somebody there to greet them with it and talk to them about it. He had, what's his name again, Barry?
Barry.
They talked about maybe how one person could jump between 2 tables, and I don't like that idea. I
don't
think we need to
either.
staff.
I mean,
Confusion.
unless you had nobody there for hours and hours, I mean, it would be the only reason you could, but
But
we're
still,
hoping that
one
doesn't
person
happen.
that comes in.
You're only looking at 3 hours.
Yeah.
And you only need 6. if
I'd like
you're
to see the 6 stations. We'll, I guess, see how
You
it
need
turns
8
out.
people.
And then, let's see this, right, and then the stations will be staffed by us and planning commission members if available. Advertising, we'd use kind of the same methods as a survey, except I think we kind of took out mailing lists. We'll do these just emails, the
Mhm.
flyer,
You don't want
signs
to do a public service announcement?
and signs and outreach to
Whatever we did last
local
time,
media.
minus the mailing because of cost.
Do they have a school newsletter that goes out on Fridays in the kids' backpack?
We could ask them. They probably would put.
Yeah,
something in. I
if
think
they
each
could-
teacher sometimes does their own thing, but they stuff the envelopes with all kinds of stuff. So we could do our own news flash for it and have them pass it out.
That's what I was wondering, or just put a big, if they would let us put a sign in front of the school
I'm sure they probably
for
would.
that week until Thursday. Something like that.
And then the location in Mills Creek School, and I
Yeah.
think we've already talked about that, so.
Yeah, the staffing for the stations, if you can ask, I have to say Mr. Hicks, I'm sorry. If you can ask Mr. Hicks if we should have professionals there, like if somebody has a question about roads, should we have someone from the road commission there? Or do you want to save that for the in-depth sessions?
I wouldn't think we would have to have a road commission representative
Okay,
there. I mean, if a number of questions come up that we need the road commission to answer, then
then
then we'd
at
follow up with
the
that.
follow-up workshop.
yeah.
And then I guess, do we want to have any staff people that were elected officials or board of trustees? Because people may, I don't know, feel intimidated, or it might divert their comments from the topic to the board.
Well,
would
right
like to
now
s-
you have 8 people. Sorry, Rachel, I didn't
I
mean
would-
to interrupt
no, I
you.
was just
If
gonna s-
Rachel's the greeter, you have 8 people between the ROS and the PC. And that's not counting Mike because he can't speak for himself. He's not here.
And
Plus Leah.
2 of the
Plus
ROS
Leah.
won't be here.
And plus Leah and myself.
We'll
So-
have.
So we'll have enough to cover the,
I wanted to comment on what you said. I would hope they come as a resident to offer their input, but I agree they shouldn't be there as a representative of,
A topic,
or yes, correct.
yeah.
I don't think this is our project and, but
I
if
don't
they.
count. I'm just a human. Seriously, I'll just sit there as a human, so I'll be good. Well,
I mean,
No,
she
you
does make a
guys
good
are.
point.
You're a
I guess
PC
I
member.
forget that you are elected sometimes
Yeah.
because you're with
I mean,
us here,
but-
but you
but-
probably shouldn't,
you're-
honestly. You
Yeah,
probably
well,
shouldn't. be
if-
there.
no, because
No, because if we have you, then
Yeah,
we have to accept
no,
all the
you
other board.
don't.
No,
No,
'cause
you
she's a
don't,
PC board
because
member.
I'm a PC board member.
Yeah.
So I get to sit here as a PC member.
Right.
Okay, I mean, that's up to the board. I'm
You want to lose a body, you don't have any to lose on this list if you want 6 stations. So,
what are your thoughts, Al?
I think like Heidi is part of this planning.
She's a member of the
commission, so I
planning
don't see any conflict of
Okay.
interest.
So that makes it different.
Yeah.
So-
What do you think, Carl?
I don't know what you're talking about.
We're talking about having elected officials there at this.
Oh, sure.
And information.
And having comment, people from the board and from the planning commission.
well, you
Just
gotta be
specifically,
careful,
Heidi.
because if you read these questions, you want people to still be honest.
What we're saying is that the PC board will be there, but not elected officials other than Heidi because she's a PC board member.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to.
Oh,
The
okay.
thought is you don't want to have the public coming in and feeling like, well, I can't say exactly what I want to say because so-and-so's here.
I personally, I don't think that would happen. I don't think,
I think
I
somebody
don't
will
think
come to
people
my
look at Heidi
face.
like that myself.
I
I'm not talking about Heidi. We've already decided Heidi's in. She's
Yeah,
I
PC.
think
okay.
elected officials are responsible to the community.
Right.
We're not.
Right.
We're appointed.
I-
So I think it's a good idea to have both, personally.
Carl, have you read any of those comments in the survey?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
you know, I
do you
I
think
put a few
people would
comments,
s-
but
Do you think people would still come in and not have their guard up if we had, I mean, it could have happened at the open house, so I guess it's just a mute point
Yeah.
at this point. But I see what you're saying, but at the end of the day, are they even going to want to participate?
yeah, if you look at the green book, it tells you right in there that public officials should talk to the voters. We shouldn't. You know, in general.
Well, I
But-
get that,
But for this
what-
kind of a thing, we all need to be involved to get the
Mhm.
questions and,
Exactly, but I'd like
but
to see 'em come
absolutely,
as
they're
a
very
resident,
welcome.
not a public
I think we
official.
should ask Barry about it
If they're,
and see what he
Ask what he
thinks.
Sure.
thinks.
but I can't see how there's a problem with an elected official coming to an open house like this and weighing in on it.
And they're
Right,
still
they're-
residents.
Right,
Yeah.
they still
Right,
have
They
an
got a
input.
right, they got a right to come if they choose to.
Right.
Yeah.
That's their constitutional right. They can come if they want to.
Sure.
I think probably
Yeah.
should,
We don't have the FBI to investigate them.
That's not
We
the-
don't have
yeah,
anybody.
that's not the issue.
That wasn't the question, manning the table.
oh,
Manning the
Do-
table, if somebody wants to come in and ask a question about roads, and there's someone there on the board that they have spoken with before about roads, and they always get into an argument, I would like to see that at our master plan survey workshop. I would want them to come in and see a neutral person and have their comments, because a lot, not many, I don't know of how many, but people have come in and said something about their road in particular, and they've tried many times and they're very passionate and angry about it. And they would come in and see that person manning that station. I don't know if we would get, the comments.
We
Key
risk
is-
losing the whole room, in other
So-
words.
We're not there to argue, and we're there to listen to what they want. This is for the future. of
Yeah.
The township, the things, also what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. We're not there to argue with them. When we're there, just listen and get their information, understand their
Yeah.
concerns.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's just my thought, and I was asking the question, but if everyone thinks that it's okay, if there's an elected staff official,
I
I-
agree that I think for the questions, I think for the tables, it should be
Yeah.
us.
right.
This is our baby. We're supposed to
Don't
do
put me
this.
down there as the elected official, put me down
Right.
as a
You're a
PC
PC
member.
member.
yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with that. And I think that.
And-
And we
and-
have enough
suggestion
people
would
to
be that
cover
That's
that.
what we do.
Yeah, that the board members can
can
come
be
as
there.
private residents, as private
Yeah.
citizens and make their comments.
Yeah,
Uh,
I hope they do.
Yep.
But that's not the point we're talking about. Anybody can come in and make a comment. It's just how people feel about the government thinking, imposing, their will on us, and that's my comments, and you decide.
I think she's right in the aspect that it's really our job and we should be doing it.
Mhm.
That's what we were appointed in this position to do. We'll do.
I mean, I'll sit there and take the hit about the roads. I'll sit there and answer every single question honestly, and I'll sit there and have the road commission stuff in front of me.
Well,
I don't care where you put me.
what did you want to say, Randy? I know you're
Well,
about-
I think also having name tags that says so-and-so's, your name and planning commission, ROS member, Leah, whatever, would
Okay,
help give
name
people
tags.
some comfort that they're not talking to, a township board member
Right.
or so. I
You know,
think
the
that's,
success of our master plan will be is if we follow it with our ordinances in the future. Where you get into trouble is when you don't follow the master plan. You have a master plan and
Right.
then you don't follow it.
we need
And
to
that's why
follow
the
it.
elected officials, they're responsible to the voters.
Right.
We're responsible to the board and to the voters, to an extent, but we're trying to get a plan together. You look at our PEP, when I read the report here, it struck me that this was answered primarily by older people. That doesn't reflect the will of everybody in this township. It was, what is it? 75% was between like 45 and
Mhm.
me.
I noticed that too, Carl.
And so you have to take, take that, but we need the input from the younger people that are starting their families, that want to live here. You know, we need to plan for the future because all these older people, you know, there's certain things they want, but there's things we need to do to make this a thriving community in the future that people want to live in. And we didn't get a lot of response from those people.
I'm hoping because having two thoughts, having it at the school will help with that. And we can draw in some of those parents and those younger families to the workshops.
That's one of
But-
the things I got from the planning commissioner in East Bay Township is they specifically set up meetings with younger people, families, business people, and then older people, but they specifically had meetings where they had certain groups, younger groups, families. What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What's going to keep, you know, those kind of things. And this survey is good. I mean, it's pretty much like the last one, but it's basically older people are well established.
So my follow-up like thought and question to that is kind of a question to Randy in that in a subsequent workshop or something, how do you, because he's right, we're looking at the future and we're looking 10, 20 years out. Does more weight, I guess what I'm saying is there more weight to what the younger crowd says versus I mean, I don't know how you.
Well,
can-
that's an interesting thought. You know, it's like the older people aren't going to be here much longer,
Right,
right?
and we're talking about 10 to 20 years, so
Exactly,
is
and you
it
have to
weighted?
remember that- Let me
Yeah.
remind you that our open house last time, it didn't warn us a lot of people.
Mhm. Well, the township as a whole
40?
is skewed towards an older population. I mean, we already know that the average resident
And
is
be
older.
careful, because some
Can we get
people don't
the,
think 60's old,
Oh,
so.
no.
Well, I
please be
didn't
don't think
say
it's all-
that. I was trying to be
Can-
diplomatically correct the way I said
can
it,
I
if
get
you
the,
waited.
demographics of the township?
What's that?
Where can I get the demographics of the township?
It's in the master,
It's in
the
the
first
master
four,
plan,
first four
chapter
chapters.
The new one?
through 4,
Okay.
Yep,
Because what I can do is I can put that in Excel with this information.
that'd be great.
And I can see where we're at with as far as
Oh,
who,
how
how many
skewed it is.
responded and what our
be
demographics
great.
are.
That'd be
Mm.
great.
And that'll tell
Yeah.
us if we're missing.
I'll
Population.
email you the
Right.
table.
And then if we're
That'd be
missing,
great.
he brought up a great point. I know our daughter in Elk Rapids, they were the only one in town that were young, that owned a house. So they actually went to them and asked them their thoughts on these questions for their master plan or whatever. But they actually sought them out because they were the only ones there.
I mean,
So
it
it's
does
a
make
thought,
sense, and at the end of the
If we
day,
get,
you get to look at a whole span
Yeah.
versus, you don't have to go, okay, what was that again?
so if we get to the point where we look at the demographics and we look at the answers to the questions, and there's a huge difference there, that's a possibility. We could go out and look for.
I like the idea of a specific workshop designed for that population and just, even if you have to go door to door, come to this, please, we need your input. You are the future.
So another thing to throw out there is that I've seen, and I've actually been involved in projects before, we've had a component of the outreach be at the schools to the high school government class, for example, and
Mhm.
engage that group of people
Oh, that's a good one.
and say, you know, what do you think about your community? How do you see it? I mean, I see the community through the eyes of a mid-60s person, you know, and that's different than what somebody who's 18 sees it
He
as.
might
And I
tell
see
you,
it,
I'm getting the hell out of here.
I'm getting out of here and I'm going to go find someplace fun and exciting because this isn't.
Cause it's pretty boring.
And that might actually get us in the school earlier. If we can talk and say, hey, in last hour of class, would you be
Well,
interested?
You only
It's
got
only a-
6th grade.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's
only in the
elementary.
Elementary here.
Nice
But,
try.
You'd have to
Worth a try.
have it plucked out in Elk Rapids High School, which ones are residents,
Yeah.
right, of this area. It
yeah,
might be
I-
a little trickier, but I think that's a great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a possibility. But as the meet and greet person, you could ask people that you notice their age group. If they have children, you could ask them if for a follow-on workshop just for families.
I could pass out something.
Yes,
Identifying
and-
that we are going to
and-
be having one for that age group. And we could include both on our flyer that goes in all the backpacks.
Yes.
I know there's a large population of enrolled I can't think of the word. When you enroll in a different district.
School choice.
Well, yes, I know there's a large school of choice
Yeah.
population, but I mean, we can't really control or pick that out of.
No, the
What about homeschool?
homeschool people would be, they're a great source
Gotta
for
include 'em.
multiple things. There is probably, there's homeschool organizations everywhere.
Yeah, but how would you hit the people that are homeschooled? Would the school know they're homeschooled?
That I don't know, but if,
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How would you hit that homeschool population?
you call the homeschool organization, as a group, they work in other areas I've been in. Their children do not go to a public school, but they group together to have group music lessons and math classes or something. In the cities, they do that. I don't know in the rural areas, but but they also.
'Cause I wonder how many kids are really homeschooled in our
Yeah.
community.
I had a question here. Kathy ran the truancy program here in Grand Traverse County for a while. And I believe that the school, for the homeschool, the school knows that you are homeschooling. So it isn't like that you can homeschool, but the school is aware of the fact that you are homeschooling. So that information, I believe, would be available
Yeah, because. of
through the schools,
truancy.
because you have to have your children in a school, whether it's a homeschool or public, but
Yeah.
private, but. So they do track that.
They
don't
track it,
know
but
that-
be private information. I don't think the school would give out the family
What
names.
if you have more high schoolers that are being homeschooled right now than you do
Well,
in the Elk Rapids?
I don't
school?
think those are the people you want to talk. You want to talk to the recent graduates. Why are they leaving? What would it take? You know,
Right, so you wanna talk to the
a
seniors.
bedroom community. People don't work in our township, and that's not gonna happen on a big scale. But they do work in Traverse City and around here and want to live out here.
Mhm.
Okay, so those people that, we need to know, what does it take to get them to stay here? Good jobs, obviously. There's, now people can work from home, and I'm not sure how long that fad's gonna work.
How you gonna give them affordable housing?
But what's it gonna take to get them to stay here and not move somewhere else? But that's when they get out of school. When you're in a junior in high school, and I didn't know what I was gonna do when I was a junior in high school. I didn't know. I was taking college prep courses and things like that, but I had no idea I could even go to college. Then the opportunity came up. Then I had made a decision, what did I want to take? But
Yeah, a lot of.
we're getting the older population answering this. I'd be very interested in the demographics from the census versus against the
Our-
replies we got.
Yeah.
One thing, we're one member down, Rachel, when we give this handout.
Yeah.
Would that be a good point? It would be targeting the people that have children in school, so they're obviously younger than me. Would that be a good place to put in a notice? The planning commission needs
I
a
think
member. Would you
so.
please, would
That'd
you
be
be
good.
willing to serve?
I
So
think
that would
so.
that would do two things. That would get us, if we could get a younger person to serve with us, that would bring in a different view.
So, yes, I agree.
Rachel's
So
not
Yeah.
at 'em.
No,
I feel like
And-
it.
no, I don't. I got in trouble.
Yeah.
She got that on now. You're in
No.
trouble now.
I meant me.
Yeah, I'm touching on a point that Carl's brought up. One of the topics could be community development. Because if people want to come back from the small town I'm from, we come back we have homecoming days, for this town homecoming, and people go back, at that time, they go back, they go to all the restaurants, they donate money to the different charities in town that are buildings that need help. And they just do that. There isn't any, for me, I think that we need a community foundation fund so that people can donate money to, because right now there isn't anything to donate your money to. You can donate money to other things in other areas, but we don't have anything for this particular township. And to Carl's point, the community development, the activities, you have the Whitewater Township Park Halloween party, and you have a Memorial Day thing and maybe a Labor Day thing, but there really could be more activities. There could be swimming at the park. Someone in the summer could have swimming, offer swimming classes to the youth. You have the High Prairie Park, but someone, it's baseball, but somebody could come in and teach classes. But that's a topic. I don't want to get off discussion here at the meeting, but that's something I had thought about already. And I'd be happy if somebody else was interested in it.
I mean,
I'm
it's-
interested in that.
It's a good idea. I had two questions about the ROS for your next meeting. Would you be recommending to the PC on our September meeting, which person is at which station once you've decided the stations, or is that something that the PC would then talk about once you tell us what the station?
We would give the ROS people that were available, we would give our suggestions of which one tables we'd like to sit at,
Mhm.
and then leave the rest. I mean, if you guys are okay with that, we'll sit at those, and then you guys can fill in on the rest of them. But yeah, we're not gonna suggest which ones you want to sit at,
Okay.
but
I just wondered, I was just thinking ahead about the agenda for that and like if we would need to have time to test it out. But if you've already got most of them covered and there's like a couple left, then
well,
it
there's
should
gonna-
be pretty easy.
Yeah,
And
there-
Leah will also tell you which ones they think are important for them to be at, I'm assuming.
And I will make sure that I get all those questions out to you guys well before the meeting, so that you have some time to regurgitate it and decide if there's something you want to do.
Yeah, I'll include it in the packet. So you meet the 24th and I'll need to do the packet on.
If it works that weekend, I can have that out to you. Weekend. of the 20th.
That'd be
Yes.
10 days. She's gonna need it
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
She's
I'm
gonna
gonna need to post it. I'm gonna be working at it the 28th, 29th.
It-
The
it-
29th will
Sounds
be
good.
when I'll have to get it done.
Is that something that, once the ROS decides that from Mr. Hicks, 6 stations and they take 2, there's 4 left, and the ROS can decide which ones they would man, and then would it need a meeting, or you could just send an email to all the PC board members and they could choose if they're available. So
That's what we just talked about.
yeah, but it doesn't have to be at the meeting,
No, this would be before the meeting.
before the meetings.
That's what we
So
just
it does,
talked
it's not an agenda item.
Yeah, it would be an agenda item, right, to finalize it, because you have to make the recommendation to
Right.
us and we'd have to approve it for you to do it. So you'd give us the recommendation of what the stations will
Oh.
be, who would man them, and then we'll finalize that and make that
So
official.
it has to be finalized. Okay.
Yeah, I
that
think
is-
so. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
guessing we should.
We should.
Yeah, I think so.
The other thing I would ask the ROS to do is between the 24th and the 29th is once we have those topics, is a flyer be made? If somebody would take on the task of making that flyer,
Who has the flyer?
so we could approve it at that meeting and get it printed
Right.
and get it to the school so that
Who
it
has
can
the
get in the
flyers?
backpacks the week before or whatever.
So I did that. So
Okay.
we can just use the same format, just modify the text in that. So it's got the same sort of look as a survey. And
Do you guys think you need the fire chief there to discuss public safety, or do you think me and Keith can handle it?
I think we're just getting it. I mean, we'll talk to.
Yeah.
We
Andy,
haven't
but
made
I
a
think we're just
decision on the
getting
topics.
information.
Yeah.
We're trying to get information from them. We don't want
All
to
right,
tell them
let me know.
anything.
So what I would, what I'm hearing, I think we would want on the flyer is the main open house information, right? The topics, date, time, the solicitation for a PC member.
Mhm.
And then if you had time to come up with a sub workshop for the younger population, I would include those dates and times. But if we aren't there yet, we're not there yet.
we can always add that later too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
I just was thinking one printout instead of too many, I mean, I know when I get the backpack with the
Yeah.
50 pages, I'm like, quick.
Yeah.
It's too much. So I don't want
Nice
to overload.
mom.
Well,
Nice mom.
Mhm.
I just put that on recording, didn't
Just a
I?
note for
So-
you,
You
yeah,
did nice,
on the
Mom.
demographics on the master plan, you're missing the age group between 18 years old and 65, which is at 54%. you've got three listed. You got persons under 18 years old,
Okay,
21.4. Then you have persons 65 years or older,
okay,
24.6. You don't have anything in the middle there.
okay. So we can change, we can add that, and we can fix that, and
Yeah,
then
just so I don't forget.
I'll get you the raw data too that I used for that from the census,
I think this is good. I've got it because I can subtract those two and that gives me the
the difference.
100%. So,
Right.
so yeah, we're not much different than the rest of the county.
I noticed that too.
But I will definitely do one with the demographics and then what ours shows, and we'll see how the answers come out. Okay.
So I'd like to make also a pitch if we don't do it at this workshop, we should do it at the second. And that is to ask residents to weigh in on the existing master plan goals. The existing master plan articulates 4 goals for the township. They include respecting the rights of township residents and property owners, preserving Whitewater Township's rural character, building a sense of community, and supporting economic opportunities. So the way I see the goals, it's just kind of a series of statements. I would like residents to look at that and offer comments. In fact, I'll pass it out here. This is exactly how they're written now. So if we don't do it at this workshop, I think we should get it, because at the end of the day, we have to update this in the new master plan, and I'm not sure this really captures. So all the other issues we talked about fall under this in some way. So it's kind of maybe kind of thinking ahead to this. And so anyway, I'll talk with Barry about it tomorrow too, and see what his thoughts are on that.
Do you have one more for Denise or not?
Oh,
We'll make her
sure.
You know, my suggestion there is, I don't think it would hurt us to at each table. Before people leave, just hit them with this question. You know, just say, you can have just a 1-page thing here with just the basics and say, this is our goals from last year.
Yeah.
What do you think of them, and what should change for next time? Just a quick
Yeah,
way to get some data.
I think it'd be helpful if we had public feedback to drive how we change this or update this. So, I
Then you
mean,
think we should give them a 1 page with 4 questions on it before they leave and say, could you please fill this out?
okay,
And maybe you could always like entice them and say, and we'll be doing a drawing later for free ice cream or something, always entice them, because that gets people to finish something that you want them to do.
I go on to mention here that, goals they're well done when they're SMART goals. They're specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and there's some time-bound nature to them. So it's more meaningful. I mean, the goals that we have there are really, they're just generally feel-good statements. They're not really anything that.
So
Well, keep in mind, the master plan is going to be listing goals for the future, but it also, they have to be reasonably attainable, and we have to put in a path to get there. Maybe not, but certain things just aren't going to happen even, but they have to be reasonable, not God and motherhood.
Right. So that's why achievable.
No
That's
way in
the
the
A,
world we're
achievable.
gonna ever pave Park Road. Then why is it in, 50 people are, everybody's saying pave Park Road, but we haven't done it, and we're probably not gonna. I don't know why we don't do it. It's, the people that use that park complain all the time about it. The people that live on it complain about the dust it's used a lot, and we have no
Well, you
plan.
gotta come up with solutions, like maybe a solution is everybody pays $5 extra when you launch your boat, and that goes towards paving the road, who knows? But
But
nobody comes
where's
up
the
with
money
any
going now
solutions.
from the campground and launching your boat?
I'm sorry,
Where is the money going?
it goes to the park.
No, it doesn't.
Goes
It
to the
goes to the,
general-
into the
goes to the
general fund. It
general
used
fund.
to, but now
But it
you guys
should-
changed the rules.
Yeah, but it should still go back
I
to
know,
the
but-
park, just because you
Yeah.
put
But that's
money
just
in
one
the
issue
fund
that
doesn't mean you're
has
doing
comes up
whatever
time and
you want
again,
with it.
but we don't have a plan to do it. Yeah, that's what I say.
Down the dead end
There
road.
has to be a way to get there from
Yeah,
here.
we, I don't,
and
you know,
look-
people are tired of dead end roads. They want some solutions. And that's what I'm hoping. People put their thoughts together.
And it's gonna take a group of people to drive anything, otherwise it's not gonna get done. So that's what we wanna do, is find people that are interested in the topic, hopefully get them involved to drive that to where we need to go.
So how many questions are you thinking this survey should be? They leave, you want them to be able to do it right after they're done at the station.
Well, we'll come up with that with our RS
Yeah.
meeting and have it to you
Yeah.
for the next meeting.
We don't need to completely resolve that
Yeah.
now, but I mean, we're all focused on the questions and the survey, and that's all great, but we also need to keep our eye on keeping the master plan, that we get a document that needs to be finished, and we have to deal with these goals one way or another.
And maybe put something in there that the first 4 chapters are out. Have you read them?
Maybe not the first 4 chapters, just a couple copies.
That's a good idea. So I have quite the list for your ROS meeting on the 24th
Excellent.
already. How,
Would you send that to me just? to make
I
sure
will,
put
I will
everything on
do
there?
like I usually do after this meeting. I'll do an email of everybody's stuff that I captured. Of course, if I've missed something, let me know and add it. And I'll run through it really quick at the end of the meeting too. But,
One of the things that was suggested to me in doing more in these questioning these focus groups was you only ask them 3 or 4 questions. What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What should we do in the, what are our goals for future? Kind of like 3, 4 questions. If you get too many, you just don't get anywhere. So you just specifically,
At each station.
it's a very limited number and maybe focused to each group, like for the younger people, the question might be a little different than it would be for the seniors or the middle-aged, like business. What do we do to get more people to have their businesses in the township that would, create jobs? We don't have that many right now.
We don't have much of an industrial district to put something.
And, one of the things with all these comments, in addition to the answers to the questions, when I participated in a survey is I took 3x5 cards, a bunch of survey and the comments. We wrote the comments down. And then we went through them together and put them in piles. It was like you would have a pile about downtown Williamsburg, 5 or 10 people said something about that. The different, some were complaints, but others were comments. And you get these stacks, and you just get some big stacks, and they are kind of related, and that really helps you limit,
Mhm.
what you're doing as far as the comments go. If you want, but that's going to be quite a bit. We got like almost 600. But, they do, there is a pattern to them.
Mhm.
And that would help you in maybe coming up with a couple of some different questions.
anything else on the workshop planning and prep?
Nope, as long as you guys are okay with the date and the school, we move forward with that. Get that ready?
Do we need to make a motion on that? And do you think,
Yeah,
or
I would-
no, just a
Consensus
consensus?
is good enough.
September 28th at Mill Creek,
So we-
time to be determined officially. I'll just go around.
One last question. Is there any refreshments? Are we gonna
Oh.
try to do
that's
that?
a Good point. I think we should. It always helps. And I know we have to pay for
Yeah,
like a cafeteria person if we do, but I think we should offer. Finger foods or cookies and just liquid, you think? I don't know, it's
Want
like
a
dinner
popcorn
time.
Machine?
No, there should be something there. I guess,
I could
can
make
you ask them
popcorn.
what's
I could sit and
available?
Make popcorn.
Well, if, yeah, I can.
And we can bring it back to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not, anything
me
they
add
do is
that.
gonna cost you.
Yeah,
And it's
I
gonna
understand
cost you
that.
3 times as much because it's gonna be overtime after 3 o'clock.
Well, and you could also find out if, I guess we could have something brought in too, but having it brought in is gonna be expensive too, so.
I would think if you're just gonna go around and talk to people for
Just a bottle of water,
just a bottle of
Mhm.
water and.
maybe a cookie,
Maybe.
a fruit snack,
Maybe a,
granola bar.
I'd have something, especially if they're coming after school and picking up kids. Kids are hungry right after school. It's right before dinner. I wouldn't, I'd offer something to everybody. I mean, I personally think, especially if it's dinner time or anything, you want people happy and
Mhm.
people are, when their sugar's crashing, they're not happy.
Right.
And if you serve any liquid, you already have to pay for that cafeteria person to be there, whether you have food or not. So just do a snack.
And if they're
couple
hungry and they're
snack-
thirsty, they won't stay, so.
Yeah.
See what they recommend.
Apples, healthy.
Okay, I
Yeah,
added
I
it
think
to
the
your
school would have
ROS
some
list.
input. They'd,
Yeah.
they'd probably help us with that.
So we're gonna do a quick consensus on September 28th with October 5th as the backup date at Mill Creek. Carl, you okay with that?
Yep.
Keith,
Yes,
Rachel, yes, Heidi? September 28th or
Yes,
October
sooner or
5th?
later.
Yes.
Al? Cool, it's done. Next, the budget, which you have the handout from Randy on.
So this is our current, well, only with regard to professional services, our current budget. Cheryl provided Rachel and I the budget expenditures as of 8/11. So I didn't look at any of the other issues. I know that there were some concerns about extra meetings and we might be on a trajectory to fall short in payment for meetings. But just in terms of the consulting time, we've just signed a contract with Leah for $18,000, which basically puts us at about $5,700 left for the balance of the year. As mentioned before, we have the zoning work that's been added to the plate. That zoning work was added after the budget was determined. So I've called it unfunded work.
What, remind me the total? I know you wrote it,
I
but
think that was $9,000.
Yeah, I think it was 9 grand.
So-
Book here.
I guess basically what Randy's getting at is we need to do an amendment. And so we're gonna have to all decide what we want to ask
so do you
for.
think we could add here then, under the bottom, the zoning ordinance piece?
Yeah,
Well, I think the town board was asking us for a projection of the master plan budget.
I mean,
And
for our budget here. For this budget?
yes,
Here?
yeah,
Just so
so,
that
He
we can
wants to
see.
add a zoning part. He wants a
Yeah.
third part.
well, I guess you bring up a good point, whether or not the town board asked for a master plan budget. They didn't ask for the zoning budget, but it all comes under the professional services line
Right,
item.
so why don't we just give it to him?
So I think so. So I
Because
think,
otherwise they're gonna say, well, you got
It's-
$5,000
that's what I-
left in here. And really, we're not. We got less
No,
than that.
we're
Well,
negative already.
no, we're not negative yet.
Well, you
We
will
will
for
be,
9
but-
grand minus 5.
Well, right, it's not gonna be 9 grand in them. That's why we need to do an amendment. So we need to figure out what a fair amount is to ask for an amendment at basically their September meeting. So we need to pretty much,
I know, but I like his idea of showing it as
I would-
3 separate.
You know, I would think Randy could really help us with that. You know, you've worked on these. When you look at what we have here, Randy, what would, if you had to
Well,
take a guess, what
there-
would you guess? how
there
much we're
there
short?
continues to be surprises with,
Yeah.
with the
Without
zoning ordinance.
Without the surprises. though.
Well, I mean, I guess in terms of the ordinance, and we just had a meeting with Ron today about the amendments that have been made. I mean, the ordinance was passed in 1974, I think, 74, 76, somewhere around there. I was busy in high school at the time. I don't remember. But there's been 80 some amendments done since then. A lot of it was codified in Muni code but we're going back and trying to find out and make sure that that work was done properly. So I don't have a good answer right now. I mean, I feel like we're in a dark room bumping into furniture.
Yep, we are. That's what we're doing.
So
Look under the
I
rug.
feel
Okay.
like what we originally had, excuse me, approved for the zoning ordinance is the amount we should ask for additional for that. Just
Right.
because by the time the new year comes around, that's
That's true.
probably a fair number
Right.
to ask for now. But we also need to look at the master plan as the bigger piece. How much more do you think we're gonna need to spend there above this 5,000 that's remaining? Because you have to think about the cafeteria person, there's all these extra costs that aren't in this 18,000. And we need
Right.
to somehow get a forecasted amount there.
And I'm not sure that that's comes out of that line item, or,
Um,
I mean, there's,
I don't know what else it would.
okay.
What else would you put it under?
It all
It's
have to be in
not-
the master plan.
I mean, we'll get some out of printing when we're printing flyers and publishing, but I think that's where it's gonna come out of.
Okay.
And remember, they can move everything except for wages. They can move within
Correct.
this. They cannot do wages, salaries, social security, Medicare, those 702 through 716 cannot be moved.
I had
The
a
rest
question.
can mix up.
I had a question, Rachel, because we're trying to find a reasonable number. We could take the percentage of the master plan that is done, or the percentage of the master plan that needs to be done, and say, okay, well, it's cost this much to get us here. So it's logical to say, we're gonna need this much to finish it.
Mm,
And
now you're
Randy,
going
what
in a
would you
different
think?
Direction though, but you're going in a different direction. He did the history
yeah, but
with the historical lady.
Well, yeah, I guess so. We have the Networks Northwest stuff is figured into this already, and the Leah stuff is figured into this. So there's $5,700 left to work on the master plan, right?
Well, there's only
Right
not,
now.
because there's paying an invoice today of $1,200.
That's in there too.
That is already in
Yeah,
there.
Right.
So if we went with his logic and you went with this $26,245, how much percentage do you think that we would be done at that point with our workshops? Saying
If
that
the workshop's done, I mean, obviously there's less of my time now because we're offloading it to Leah to
Mhm.
do all that. So we're at least with more than half.
So I was thinking 50% would be a fair
Yeah,
number because you're still having to add some of those food fees and printing fees and other things into that. Go ahead.
now my next thing, okay, that take care of the master plan. Now we need to add some in there for the zoning that we're gonna really need Randy's help with too.
Right.
So we've got that, now we know what we need for the master plan. Now in zoning to clean that up.
Well, I think I
9,000.
stand with the $9,000.
$9,000, okay,
If
okay.
that's, I mean,
You
that's,
don't want to round it at 10, you just want to go 9.
I
You know,
don't
Heidi,
know.
maybe just a suggestion, but if we pick a number like $20,000 and say,
Mhm.
you know, we're guessing in the wind here. 'Cause
Well, we
really
are because
So
we've
it's
got
like,
a
you
lot
know,
of
we will
unknown
come to you
expenses.
and request 20,000 at a time or 10,000 at a time, whatever you think that number would be, and explain to you why we need that, but we can't tell you how much more over that we're gonna need until we get a little farther into this.
Well, and the other thing you have to think is the fiscal year ends in March, right? So technically for the next, what is that, 7 months?
It ends April
Roughly,
1st.
do we really need that much in the next 7 months, or are things gonna slow down a little bit? Because that would be to 100% completion, and we might only be 75% complete.
so I'm assuming that we're done with the workshops by October, November, that so then that's when more work starts up in terms of trying to incorporate that into the new document. So I would think we're pretty far along by April. I mean, we have a draft document more than likely by April.
Awesome.
But
So
are- when are we, okay, so if we throw a number at, let's say 20 grand. Say we throw 20 grand in. Are we, I don't want to I hate forecasting under because then you have to go back more. So is 20 enough to get us at least to that point? Because we're gonna have to,
Well, it would be
Ask for
20
this
plus
pretty
9,
soon,
right?
yeah,
Is what
but-
you're saying? 20,000 for the
I,
master
I
plan and
think, I
9
think 20 would get us to April
for both or
for both.
Oh, for both. So I was thinking 29, 9 and
See,
20, but you
yeah,
think,
but you think 20 is enough?
can we meet in the middle with 25?
We
Can we
have
just
5 in
meet-
here still, so,
That makes 30, yeah,
no, I mean, we still have 5 in. here.
right.
Right.
If we
So
ask for 25,
If we ask for 25, I think that
That
would,
gives you
Okay.
30.
Okay.
Because here's the problem, I don't want to get into the zoning ordinances and then find out that we have a bigger cost, and then they'll throw the general ordinance at us as next, because nobody wants to do
Yeah.
those either, but
No, I'm
well,
not
that'll
doing the
be
general
their
ordinances.
budget, right?
That's what
their
I'm
budget. Yeah,
thinking.
that's not us.
But
I'm-
at the end of the day, to get through all them, to get through all that zoning, hopefully we can do it with a lot of volunteer work and we don't have to hire a consultant, another consultant to help you.
No.
Is,
um,
you think 9's enough? Or do you want to
But
just?
you only have to go till April.
Well,
How
I
much can he
guess-
really work between now and April?
Yeah.
He's got hunting season.
I mean, yeah, I just
Well, there's 7 weeks gone right
shoot the one in the
there.
parking lot and be done with it.
No, I'll just make sure the one in the parking lot follows Randy home. We're
I
good.
said not that one.
you.
Yeah, not that
I'm
one.
throwing that in my truck for hunting season and put it in my cage. Back after hunting season.
Yeah,
There you go. I mean,
It's just such a wild card with the zoning stuff and that's where we get.
that's what I'm afraid of.
well, I think we got an answer, 25,
I think
and
if we
let's,
ask for
let's go with
25,
that, and,
Yeah.
I think it's and we got a good rationale for getting there is, this is what we've done, this is where we're at, and this is what we
I
believe we're
think
gonna
when we ask
need.
for the 25, we should give them findings of fact.
I think Randy and I can work on that and get it, because we have to
Okay.
get it to Cheryl, I think by like the 22nd or something, at least for the wages and salary part.
Okay.
So I wanted to touch on that with everybody really quick, but really mostly you, Randy, how many wet meetings do you predict between now and April for us?
Well, we just talked about an extra thing for kids or families or something like that, which could take some time. And then, Leah's contract, we brought up with them the fact, I think somebody at the town board member mentioned it, that their costs were pretty heavy in the first phase of their work and they weren't sure where we were in the process and stuff. They said, well, we could maybe, if we don't need all that money, we won't use it. So, I mean, I
Oh,
trust them.
that's even
Yeah.
better.
So
Ooh,
there
we'll
might be a little,
coming out
but,
ahead.
but then we could maybe add a workshop that wouldn't cost that much and do it with families or do some other effort to try to reach younger people.
But as far as us meeting for the wages and salaries, that's the thing the clerk needs to know because that we're gonna run out soon, like that, and has to be an amendment done. I think that she has to put on the September township board meeting or we're gonna run out of.
Yeah, because you're
Meeting
already
money.
Well,
-7.
Leah's not gonna charge the full 18.
But,
right
but
away.
their fees don't come out of, so I'm talking about 702 and
He's talking about
703.
Page 2.
Yeah, I'm talking about 702 and
Oh.
703.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Seven oh two is fine. It's 703. Well, I think she said both. That weren't on track.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I think we need to up both of them.
Here's 2
And she
3,
said
right?
really all we needed to give her was the number of meetings and she could figure out what the cost, what the money amount is that's necessary times each of our wages time, So we just need to estimate how many meetings we think we're going to have between now and April.
How many extra meetings, or are we talking?
Total meetings.
What committee we
February,
talking about?
March,
Just-
April.
The
We
PC,
have 7 meetings left.
I would go with
for a
PC
month.
and ROS and I'll give her a separate number of both because the payment for ROS and that stuff's still confusing. So we'll just give her a number for we estimate this many
You have
ROS meetings
7
and this many PC
You have
meetings.
7 business meetings right now, and that's once a month for the PC left.
I would guess 10. I'm gonna just say we're
Yeah,
gonna need
I'd throw a couple
10.
extra meetings in
Well, you've
there.
got the joint one coming up, right? That's an
Oh,
extra
we're
one.
gonna start adding joints. Okay, so let's do PC, joint, and ROS and give her those. Okay, so PC, I'm just gonna estimate 10. Joint, we're doing quarterly, so that will give us only 2 between now and April, right? I think,
Yeah, you're in the 8th month.
yeah.
9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3.
So we'll get 2 of those in. And then the ROS, what do you think? Just say 5?
5, that's what I was gonna say.
Mhm.
Okay, well, that's what I'll tell Cheryl on that.
So you're 10, 2, and 5?
Yeah. Is what we anticipate for numbers of meetings. And then Randy, you and I can work on how to depict this for
Okay.
the forecasting and asking for an amendment on the professional services line.
And you're gonna add a box down here for zoning, right?
What's already
Yeah.
there?
Well, yeah, we just really have to depict, I think, like you were saying, a picture to represent why we are estimating we're gonna need this much more. Because then they can just do one amendment in September, hopefully, for both the wages, wages, salaries, and professional services, and get us done.
Yeah,
Right.
just, PC
We'll be done.
budget
Amendment,
amendment for everything,
right.
and that'd take care of us.
Yep.
Yep.
Should work.
Okay,
And that takes us to having likely a draft master plan by April.
Well,
that's awesome.
Now, let's not go reporting that all over the place and start a whole telephone.
I mean,
game.
that's,
the goal. Thank you.
so I think I mentioned earlier, though, that the process in the Michigan Planning Enabling Act takes us out almost 90 days after the draft is done for public comments and circulation. So there's there's still work going on, but not much in terms of just waiting for some email or phone call or whatever to come. So,
And then, so basically, we'd be hoping that July, August, it would be finalized. In the same token, right about then, we're finishing the zoning, hopefully finishing all this zoning work, and then we can actually make some effective change based on the master plan we
Right.
have in place.
all right, then we can launch into that.
Doesn't that just sound like
crazy, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's only a year
Oh,
from
Isn't that
now,
great?
you guys. That's
I think
amazing.
that's
I mean, it's not a bad forecast,
Yeah.
but you're getting a little
Hey,
crazy,
look
right?
at how
We'll do it.
fast we're going now with
We'll
this.
do it.
We're gonna
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Have faith. Ye of little
How
I
faith.
mean,
many people
it's-
are on Zoom? I forgot to write it down.
It's gone
It's
pretty
been
well.
up and down, but there's just one right
You know,
now.
I mean, the survey,
Mostly
we got
just
the
me.
workshop
Mostly
scheduled,
me.
we got, it's moving along pretty good.
Yeah, and Leah is super impressive.
Yeah,
So I'm excited.
This is impressive just to get, considering you just gave them a contract.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at the other guys, it's kind of like, yeah.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
All right,
Thank
so
you.
we are tackling it tonight. So we already really talked about the ROS plans duties in the next meeting. I don't think there's anything more for that. You want me to go over your list really quick?
Yeah.
That I wrote, and then I'll email it too, but I have that you're gonna finalize the topics at the workshop. You're gonna decide who of you guys are gonna do what topic table. You're gonna finalize the time. Randy's gonna do a flyer once all of that's decided. You're gonna talk about a survey as they exit the workshop or the stations. And you're gonna find out about more information about refreshments, drinks, and foods and snacks. Did I miss anything? I feel like I
Can't think of
did,
any.
but,
We'll add it if we remember later.
okay.
I'll help you with your table. on
I am
mountains.
going to, Randy's going to email Networks Northwest, but I'm gonna send you first the list of my notes of what I want from them, which is, let me go over it again. We want to make sure that the questions align. For example, you have the survey questions and then the answers. Numbers on the pages,
and if they're broken down, then just break it down by letters after, like
Right.
6A, 7A.
one A, B, C, yeah. Default report needs to be changed. The whole question isn't written out. There's the ellipses. And the comments are out of order, but that was due to the page numbering. And we also want to ask them for an Excel version. But the reason for the first things I listed before I said Excel was so that we have a cleaned up, ready for posting, professional document. Okay,
And can you see if you can get that Excel before our meeting the 24th?
Yes.
oh yeah, so the due date we would want would be like 22nd, like
Right.
ASAP or 22nd. Okay.
And if you need some help, Keith, let me know.
Okay.
Then Keith, I have for you, you are going to do the notice and agenda for the 24th ROS meeting.
Yep.
And then when you get that Excel stuff, you're gonna do all the fun stuff for the ROS meeting and then subsequently our meeting. So you would want to get all of that to me by the 28th.
One other question about Networks Northwest, was Mr. Carson still planning to come to the September meeting?
Oh, yes. Was it September or October? It was
I
September.
can't remember which one.
I think it's October. I was trying to make sure we were well past the workshop decisions, so there wasn't any.
Ooh, sneaky you. Snarky you. Snarky stuff.
No, I just think it's fair and upfront
Right,
that we're not, you
exactly.
know, if
They
we would
won't,
have
but
chosen
they
them
already
and
know
they would
that.
just been here, that would have looked a little
would've looked weird.
favoritism. So I was trying to
Little
keep
bit.
it separate.
He wants to come and talk about the change to being an MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization. You might have seen that. Networks Northwest is going to be in charge of transportation planning in Grand Traverse County with change in population threshold.
Could be why we took a drop to the bottom of the bucket there.
What's that?
If they just took that contract, could be why we went to the
Hmm.
bottom of the barrel there.
I'm gonna re-forward it back to both of us, Randy, so we have it fresh at the time of our email, but it's October meeting.
Oh,
It was October?
I invited him to the October meeting. And he was available.
no, I think he's already communicating with Rachel about that.
I think Cheryl helped us connect that and that connection and
One thing I think I forgot about it was, I don't know if we need to do a consensus or vote on it, but we did decide as an ROS committee that Randy should be the point of contact between us and Leah.
Leah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we
And they asked for
decided.
one point of contact, and it just only makes sense that, Randy should be that
I thought we
person.
already
So
decided that. Didn't we already decide that?
The ROS did. I don't know if the planning
Yeah.
commission did.
So
Well,
I-
let's just make a consensus. I 100% agree.
One
Oh, I'd
hundred- I thought
agree
we
too.
already- I agree.
Carl, should Randy be the point of contact with Leah?
For Leah, the contract to do the outreach
Yeah.
meetings. We're gonna have Randy be the contact person for that. You all right with that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Somewhere, but okay.
That might have been network, something else, but I think I know.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's fine. We
Um,
just agreed. We're good.
Anything else related to the master plan project?
I'll make sure Tom gets these notes.
Okay. I'll put it on your list of to do.
Oh, no, it'll get dropped off tomorrow. It'll be done before you put on my list.
Okay.
I got a plan. A driving plan.
If not, our next PC meeting is September 6th. The next ROS meeting is August 24th at 9 AM. And I will open it up for public comment to Zoom. So please raise your hand on Zoom if you would like to make a public comment. Back to commission discussion or comments. Carl, anything?
Nope.
Keith?
Oh, I just like to say, yeah, one thing, I really impressed with the amount of effort you people put into putting a story together.
Thanks.
It got done in a hurry, timing, I couldn't believe it was that, and the number of responses you got, I mean.
It's impressive.
Other townships I talked to didn't get nearly this many, but, so it was quite an effort. Like I say, the only thing is, almost half of them are retired. So, I don't know how you did, but, it was a good job.
Got anything else? No? I'm gonna adjourn this meeting at 8:29. Thank you very much. Another record.
Thank you.